中了。
I'm gonna go take... Wait, is this on?
Not sure.
Welcome back, everyone. I'm Aaron Medic Chamberlain, and joining me is Giants coach Naruto. Now, Naruto, you've had an incredible start to the split. 3-1 at the moment, only losing to Vitality. How does it feel to be on the top of the pile?
I mean, it feels like, I cannot describe, like everything is so, like the atmosphere in our team is so positive, everyone is so happy. Like I didn't know if we could start like this. Obviously, people didn't feel like we could be like top team at the beginning, but I feel like we put like insane amount of work from the very first day that we came to Berlin, and everyone has been like sharing the same feeling, which is we want to prove that we are top team in the region, or we can like perform against the best team. So obviously it feels really good.
You're doing an incredible job thus far. I want to come back to what you said there, though. You said that a lot of teams and coaches perhaps didn't expect you to be where you are. Do you think there's anything special that you've done that have got you this far?
In my opinion, the most important thing is like not only we work like really hard, but compared to other teams, I feel like we had a really good reading on the meta. Like the thing is, the LCS started, let's say, on 8.1, and nobody really knew which was the best thing to go for, how to navigate like these new runes, and everything was kind of up in the air now. but we sit down now. We talk like, okay, we feel like this will be the best thing to do. Let's try to practice this specific strategy, and let's go with this one, right? And then we feel like it has been showing that it has been working well for us, sorry, and then it is being good for us.
Do you feel as prepared for 8.2 and the new meta coming in?
Honestly, it doesn't seem to me that the meta changed like that much. I feel, obviously, Targon is a thing. Now it is going down. And now the thing about the Nunu, it's kind of tough to say because of the AP and the big changes, but it doesn't really change in my opinion.
Well, you're doing very well on this meta. Hopefully your success can continue. Thank you very much for talking to me. We're going to hand it back across towards our analyst desk.
Thank you very much, Medic. Fantastic to hear from Roccat saying that, well, he doesn't think the patch change will influence things that much, and we're going to see, because in our next game, we've got our first place teams going up each other, of course, Giants, and facing off with Roccat. Now, these organizations have a long history in the EU LCS with 16 splits combined, but they've never been able to stay on top. In fact, the last time that they made it to playoffs was summer 2016 for Giants and summer 2015 for Roccat. However, based on the results in the first weeks, this could be the split they make it back. So beginning with Giants, I want to ask my analysts, what is it that's making them so good right now, and why are they the winningest team?
Well, we have to look at some of their individual talent, and our eyes normally fall onto players like Ruin. This guy has been building up fantastic individual leads during lane, and then he translates them in so effectively in the mid to late game. Whether it be through roaming from side lanes to join the rest of his team, or it be phenomenal team fighting, this guy has really left an impression on us here in Europe.
So, TLDR, is it just 1v5? Is that what's making Giants win and the only thing?
No, definitely not. Like the old like trio of Steerback, Betsy, and Joko, it's actually doing a lot of work in the early game and have shown a lot of synergy that is really surprising to me, and I'm really happy about that.
So, everything seems to be going well. Are there areas of improvement?
Well, I think that for the Giants team right now, they've shown that they are very proactive. They're really willing to try and make plays and be active on the map once they get their gold leads. And you can just see from some of the numbers on your screen that they have this really big spike in gold because they know that once they get a slight lead, they know exactly what to do with it. But sometimes this can result in the team being a little overeager.
Yeah, definitely. They have shown a lot of like team fights where they actually like go a step too far, try to get another kill that they shouldn't or don't even need to, instead of going for the objective, and I hope that changes.
Also still room for improvement, but they're already winning, and we'll see what they can do today up versus Roccat. So I want to ask the same question about Roccat. What is going so well for them? You guys mentioned as individual performer, Ruin for the side of Giants. So Roccat, is there also a certain individual that's crushing it there?
Well, for me, I'm looking at the bottom lane for Roccat because I feel that Hiku, after his rough performance last split, has really been stepping up. His damage numbers have looked good, his position in team fights have looked impressive, and that's all been facilitated by Norskeren on support. The two together are forming this fantastic dynamic duo that seem to be having a lot of impact on this Roccat squad.
Those guys are doing really well. If we take a step back, something we've mentioned a lot is vision control for Roccat. Why is it so good, and where do you see that when games evolve?
Well, I feel like you just have to look at the Baron for this team. We've talked so much about it, and just look at some of the vision that they have around this objective. They set up wards so effectively, they deny so much control from their opposition, and it allows for so many effective and clean Baron takes that have given them very impressive stats, in that 6 out of the 8 Barons in these games have all gone to Roccat. When it comes to this objective, this team is one to fear.
All right, well, we talked about the early game for Giants. How is Rockat's early game? Amazing?
They're quite on the opposite end of things. I think the early game has been really weak. Memento hasn't really had the impact that I expected him to, but he has been great at like basically controlling the technicalities of the game, which is the vision control, which is allowing his lanes to scale. This can sometimes backfire though, especially if a team is abusing the early game. I think Giants may actually be able to do that.
Well, before we get to predictions, how is that going to influence this match in specific? Because Giants has said aggressive early. They also have a short game time in general, and Roccat seem to need some time to ramp up and strike when Baron is around or when it's time to fight and their team comp comes online. So how will that play into this matchup specifically?
I feel like Giants are going to be able to get an early advantage and really hold on to it, because so far what we've seen from Roccat is not really a strong ability to suddenly come back into games. If they can keep the game relatively even, that's where I would give Roccat the slight edge in the late game. However, it very much depends on how this early game plays out, and if Giants can continue to be as proactive as they have been in the last few weeks.
How much do we think the change of the patch is going to come into play for Roccat? We mentioned North Scarin and Hikyu. There are quite a lot of changes, possible champions, as well as obviously the item overhaul for the support. So can that bottom lane be very influential in swinging this game for Roccat?
I definitely think so. I think the Jinx update actually makes a lot of sense for Roccat as a team overall. And I think the Nunu patch too. Like, I think from what I've seen from Memento, he has always been someone that kind of controls the game pace. And I think that will actually allow him to do that even more so than beforehand.
So that's all the theory. So what are your predictions? Vedius, you seem pretty Giants-minded.
Yeah, I think the Giants are going to get a strong early lead. I think they'll hold on to it and be able to take out this game.
Maurice?
Me too.
All right, cool. Easy. Well, there's a lot on the line this game with the winner securing a lead at the top of the EU LCS. Let's head over to Quickshot and the Fish Show for picks and possibly some bans.
Thank you very much, Sharks. That's correct. The winner stands atop of the EU LCS table. I'm going to take a look at the team on the blue side of the rift with the Giants. Let's take a look at the roster. Of course, Ruin in the top lane, Joker in the jungle, Betsy in the mid lane, Steelback, and Tigerboss AD carry support. Other coach, Naruto.
And I'm going to take a minute here to talk about the other team on the Rift today, Trevor, which is Roccat on the other side, with Profit up in that top lane, Memento as well, the Blank in the mid lane, Hikyu AD carry, Noscarin the Dap Master or half Dap Master, Freddy 1-2 the Pink Ward Master behind the team. This team buys the most control wards out of any team in the EU LCS, and I asked Freddy about that, and he said, yeah, when I played, I never bought any control wards, but I kind of realized it's a good thing to do, so now I'm teaching my players what I did wrong was a bad thing, and you guys should buy them.
I am very happy. Learning from his mistakes, that's what's allowing
That's what life is all about.
To lead his team to a 3-1 record. So what Giants, I really liked hearing from Naruto Adore there as we came out of the ad break, talking about
I was busy
how
doing something else.
his team had a good read on the meta and how, you know, he felt that Giants came into the split with maybe a deeper understanding of how 8.1 was playing and how to make the most out of picks and bans and the game.
Yeah, we've definitely seen really good late game comps, and the team win through some of those big late game team fights. And another thing was, I read a great interview. It was Steelback and Joko together. I believe it was Inven that made the interview, where they talked about how as soon as they got together and started practicing, there was chemistry instantly. And sometimes that is one of the most important things you can get, especially early on in the split when a lot of players pretty slow at ramping up, you know, getting to their top level. These guys instantly had synergy. They kind of understood how they wanted to play the game, and everyone was on the same page. And no one is greedy on this Giants lineup. It's play for the team. And that's really benefited them a lot because a lot of different members have been able to carry at different moments in the game.
I think it's very important that you say that because we've actually seen super teams in the past many times. And oftentimes they collapse.
Every time we call them a super team, they collapse.
There we go. Whenever you add that title, it seems to bring that pressure. Let's turn our attention to Roccat for a little moment because, you know, this is a team that kind of surprised, playing very well. Expectations in terms of the pre-split power rankings were what, middle to lower middle of the table at best? Best?
Yeah, at best.
And they're playing very well.
They are, and it's much earlier in the split than we expected because we saw 5 new players being put together. We were like, okay, these guys are going to need a lot of time. 2 Korean imports as well in Profit and Blank. Typically, that takes a lot of time before these teams really understand how to be on the same page and get the communication going. But this patch has really benefited them because, again, they've also been using late-game comms, which is what you do in this meta. And in the late-game team fights, a player like Hikyu, the guy you see on your screen right here, he's actually able to carry some of these late-game fights, and he's able to have a very large impact.
Keep the focus on Hikyu and Noscarin as well as picks and bans. What are we going to see in terms of priority for these teams? You've already alluded to the fact that both squads have gone late-game comps in the past.
We're definitely going to get Sejuani in this one. Either banned or picked, because Joko loves to play it, first of all, and I know Memento would like to play it as well. And he's also showed us the Zac.
Right.
And I like Memento's Zac because he's aggressive in the early game. He can actually look for some of these skirmishes with his team, and we know him and Blank have good synergy together. It's one of the things to look for.
And are we going to see those melee supports once again, the tanky types?
Listen, if Tahm Kench and Braum are available, you pick Tahm Kench and Braum right now. That's how it is. My boy Brand might come in soon. I've been practicing him in solo queue, getting ready for the day someone picks him on stage so I can talk about support Brand. Every time I try and, you know, look at solo queue accounts. I see maybe one brand from the pros out of like the last 50 games, and I'm like,
So
okay.
you're onto something, and they just haven't figured it out yet.
I think I'm a step ahead of them.
Got it.
Yes, when it comes to that support meta.
I hope so too, because I would love to see support brand come back into play. Nunu, red side banned once again.
I told you we might see him once today.
Yes, might see him definitely, maybe not. Tom Kench was the other ban that we saw in game 1.
And we love that.
Yes, I'm not a huge fan of seeing Tom Kench despite
Thank
players
you,
who are
thank
good
you.
on him, but it
Join my
just,
little cult over here of hate Tom Kent.
I'm on board. Killister once again taken off the table,
Okay.
so those power picks.
Yes. So the big S tiers right now, if I can remember all of them in my head at the moment, like Sejuani, Kalista, Azir is up there. We still have Ryze and Zoe, which would be considered very high tier picks that you should look to remove in most of them. Top lane wise, I don't think there's anything you specifically have to ban every game. Because it is very open. There's some tanks, on Cho'Gath, or a little bit weaker. There's still Gangplank if you want to play pure late game. There's AP carries like Vladimir.
Yep.
And Camille is a champion who's also very strong.
Both of these top laners love Gnar. Both of these top laners enjoy playing that champion, Ruin and Prophet. Remember that Betsy last week played the Azir, the Veigar into the Azir, and with Ryze being banned away, they could leave that mid lane pick to later if Blank decides to go Azir.
If they really wanted to pick the Azir, yes, they can do it. They can also take Azir for themselves if they want to when they ban Zoe and the Ryze. Again, unless they really want Roccat to pick it and they're kind of showing it. Oh, that's another one of the S tiers down in the bot lane. Good ban by Roccat. Fantastic in the current game. And of course, Momo is left open. Then you gotta grab him first.
No, it's the Dark Child video that came out, not the Sad Mummy video. You're getting your characters
I'm
and
a
your
few
videos,
years
but
behind.
You are a few years behind. Maybe that's why you think brand is a good thing at the moment. We'll
Dude,
see.
he's really good.
Let's see. It would be awesome
There
if it
we
actually
go.
happened this time round.
See, don't overthink it, Trevor.
Locked in.
You're thinking they're gonna bait this and pick the Veigar,
I
but
just wanted it. That's all I wanted was a Veigar again. Get the baby cage in there and stack that AP.
Blank can also grab that if he wants to. Galio is open in this game, and he's actually been banned a lot. Last week, we saw him banned in 6 out of 10 games, if I remember 100% correctly. He was banned in the last game, and teams have figured out that Galio is still fantastic when it comes to applying pressure to these side lanes, and his team fighting is very good. So when you pick things like Caitlyn, you could go Galio with it.
Tom Kench is still up as well if they wanted to go for that bottom lane. Nope, Galio instead. Hiku, by the way, played one game of Caitlyn, unkilled 3-0-8. And there is that Galio. Are you expecting it to be in Blank's hands?
Yes, I am expecting it to go towards the mid lane for Roccat. Gnar still available, as you highlighted before. The best pick for both Ruin and Prophet. It is locked in instantly by Ruin, not risking, Roccat picking that and then banning
Do you
away
think
to the
Prophet
counters.
runs the risk or potentially runs a counter pick?
He could try and run the Jace, but I'd rather see the Camille from him in top lane. But I think right now, if you are a Roccat, the Zac pick is also something you have to look at. I don't think maybe they have to grab it now. So I think Camille, as I said before here, is a better choice for me than Jace, because I like Camille more in a team fight.
Right.
And you will get to team fights eventually in this meta.
Yeah, no doubt about it, especially if you have that Galio mid lane. Can come jump up, help out, and it is locked in. So, ding, another great prediction. Where do we turn to phase 2 bans?
I do have to say this meta where we have roughly the same picks every game. Throwing out just 2 or 3 champions means you are most of the time fairly correct. I will predict a Giants Zac ban in this one here. And then Memento will grab the Jax jungle. Now doing it very early to make it harder, a challenge.
Okay.
Or Giants just ban the Jax jungle as well.
Okay, so they got the option for both. 80 carries on red side has been the ban flavor of the day. Varus removed from the pool, so Steelback will not have access to Kalista, to Varus, to Kog'Maw. We know Ezreal has been hit pretty hard, because reminder, if you've just joined us, we're playing on patch 8.2.
Oh, there we go.
There's the Zac, so now you're looking for either the Jax ban,
Yeah.
or I'll give you an opportunity to add another. What else could they ban?
Could also look for Kha'Zix, but Memento's Jax was very good last week when we saw it. I still have to, of course, always consider Kha'Zix despite the nerfs to him. This patch still deals a ton of damage if you need a carry jungler for yourself. And Tahm Kench gets banned away, meaning Roccat could grab the Braum in the first phase, get a super good bot lane setup, have the Galio mid as well to further back that up. and then get a superior support pick, seeing as it's Tom Kench and Braum typically traded.
Are we seeing a whole lot of physical damage on the side of Roccat? Could this open up for a brand support to help out the AP?
Hey, I mean,
I know Galio does some AP damage, of
there's
course.
the Jack span.
There we go.
All right, so far so good. Galio does build a lot more AP now than he did when we saw him at Worlds, so they will get some magic damage coming in from him. I'm not going to talk about this hover here. I think taking Braum makes the most sense, and then wait with your last pick.
It could be
for the
support
jungle.
Camille.
It can be jungle Camille. That's the thing.
Oh, jungle Camille indeed.
We have seen that. I think when
Did Trick play that
he did.
in LCK?
It's been played quite a bit in LCK. Blank had a performance on it. The SKT Blank had a performance on Camille that was awful. Just like yesterday. I guess Memento was watching that, being like, yeah, I can probably do that better. So now he's taking it, but I think he saw the Jackson Zac ban. Okay, we got pretty far down the jungle list. Camille jungle it is. Jay's top for profit. Surprising Giants, and they grabbed the Thresh in this case here. That is risky. Where's my boy Brand?
I don't know. We're going to find out. There's one last pick available. And, of course, Giants still need to round up their team composition. We're looking for their AD carry here, so it won't be the Echo.
But you're also playing the Thresh now against the Galio mid lane. Oh, it's
Oh,
Jinx!
we get Jinx!
Yes! She was buffed. We'll talk about it in-game. This is a risky bot lane. Like,
but that's why you got the Lantern.
yeah, and then they have to hook into traps, and you have a great gang setup, and in that case it makes sense. But Braum, for Noskaran, his best champion, he picks it all the time. He wins all the time. 100% win rate on it. It was there. Giants could have taken it. More protection for Jinx. They didn't do it, and now he's clapping on stage.
Yes, look at Noskaran. By the way, 3 games played. He averages 11 assists per game, and his current KDA is 0-4-33.
Again, I didn't believe he was going to get it once they locked in the Jace.
Okay. For Giants, if Naruto Adore is not saying, bye Ninja Tabby, I think there's a problem.
There's definitely a lot of physical damage on the other side. But Giants late game, Azir Jinx, amazing combination. Amazing amount of damage you can deal. Very low amount of protection in my opinion, because it's Thresh sitting there who's kind of meh when it comes to really peeling in big team fights, unless you can connect, get him into the box and then the flay slow and then you can land him out. You know, that way, yes, you can do it, but it's not as effective as a Braum. So when I look at the team fight or the comp from Roccat, I see a lot of ways of forcing plays early. Top lane, you're winning right now. You have a jungler who can gank very effectively in Camille and strong in duels. And then you have Galio mid lane, push Rome. I want to see proactive Roccat, and I want to see them especially punish first the Gnar, then the Jinx. Because this bot lane from Giants, it's so squishy and it's so hard to play early on.
As we load up into the game, Deficio, I can see 4 unsealed spellbooks, and it's all in the bottom lane. AD carry and supports. So it'll be interesting to keep a glimpse on how quickly they'll make changes there. It's only less than we had in the previous game. And this is going to be very, very interesting. For Roccat, they put themselves together a interesting team composition, mostly AD damage. They've got that Galio that has not really showed up a lot in EU LCS mid lane, and definitely not that effectively when it was allowed through. And Deficio, there's one other thing that definitely is in Rockat's favor this game. They're playing against a team that has no substitutions. Do you know what that means? Their win rate is higher because when Roccat play against teams with substitutes in 2018 and 2017, they've lost games.
Exactly. So, luckily for them, no issues on the side of Giants. It is the 5 starters. And against teams in 2018 with all 5 starters in the lineup, Roccat is sitting with 100% win rate so far. And you can't break those numbers, Trevor.
No, you cannot. Although Unicorns of Love showed they can...
Okay, they did break the numbers last game.
They can go against the probability.
Fine. Maybe Giants can do the same. Let's find out. Because in this game, they have Steelback on Jinx. She was changed, buffed for this patch here. The biggest thing for her is the fact that now, when she starts ranking up her minigun, the Q, she gets so much extra bonus attack speed. It goes all the way up to 130% at rank 5. And then when she gets excited in a team fight, there is no attack speed cap for her. So she ends up running fast. She gets extra attack speed from that as well, plus the 130%, you know, coming from ranking up the minigun, the stacks, everything. There are so much attack speed on this champion. And the cap is not there to block her from just shooting non-stop auto attacks away. So in team fights, if she gets excited.
And this is Steelback's Jinx.
Steelback's Jinx, the janitor, who can stay behind, gets the first kill, and then...
Hold on. You just asked about the janitor. What was that saying? When was Steelback called the janitor?
Back on Fnatic, long time ago, when it was the 2015 spring lineup, and they had Huni, Rainover with them. Steelback was the AD carry, and he was really good at staying far behind in the team fights, move in at a correct time when people started dropping low, and then he would just clean house. So we started calling him the janitor because he always cleaned up the mess.
All right, we'll keep our eyes on the janitor and whether or not he can sweep up any mess that Roccat leave behind.
I mean, and Jinx is perfect for that.
Oh yes, she's designed for it in many cases. And a switcheroo to Fishbones. Fired a couple rockets onto Hikyu. A small lane advantage here for Noskeren and Hikyu, using Caitlyn's early power.
Exactly. Jinx's laning phase is not very strong. Her gank setup is pretty good. I had a great chat to Freak about Jinx specifically, and he loved talking about how with the traps, and if you have some CC from a support, you can coordinate that very effectively with the jungler showing up, and you can try and punish the people who are pushing against you.
Right.
But obviously, Roccat, they should be aware of this, so they get vision down, they try and track where Joko is, and if they know where he is on the map, they can push Jinx to the turret. She can't really touch Caitlyn early game. She even lost 5 AD, you know, at level 1. That hurts her a little bit more.
It just makes life a little more difficult as the rest of the lanes Roccat are doing fairly well. Of course, Blank, with those Winds of War, is shoving in Betsy's Azir. There's not many champions that can make Azir fall back in the early game. And here's one of them, Prophet as well. He's got himself a 10 CS advantage as he's shoving Ruin all the way back. So for Roccat, early laning phase going relatively well. That swing and a miss for Targamas. Not going to find connection with the death sentence, despite the fact Joko was waiting in the wing. So those Lantern ganks are a very strong potential if Roccat continue to put pressure and keep shoving the lane in over and over.
And if you just tuned in here to watch this game, we have two teams battling for first place in the EU LCS here in week 3. Giants and Roccat both 3-1, and as we talked about last game, no relic shields for AD carries. Simply due to the fact that the quest reward that gave that shield from Targon's Brace is gone, so you don't get the extra healing. Oh, sorry, the extra shielding. It means now you don't want to build it because it would just give you another side stone.
Yeah.
Doesn't make a lot of sense for AD carries. That one now is out of this world. Memento is invading on this Camille. We've seen this now in the LCK. We've seen it in a few other regions as well. I'm kind of mixed on Camille jungle because I think she's very risky. She's amazing if she gets ahead because she has great long-range CC potential with, of course, a little hook. She can fire into the wall and then fly and catch someone. Her ulti is great at creating picks because you can't get away from it. And her damage, if she gets a Trinity Force, is very high.
Yeah.
But all these things can be difficult to get as a jungler because you don't always get enough farm. You don't always get early kills. And suddenly, if you fall behind, you're just this really weak fighter that offers very little to your team.
Yeah, well, let's see what Memento can do with it. Pressures on Roccat, this team composition predominantly AD damaged. Joko already showing his face, covering this lane a little bit.
Blank, he's going for this one right now because Memento is around, but no one took the fight against him. And Blank's build, there's a high chance it is Abyssal Mask into Morello and Omicron.
Nice.
As the build we get. So there's some AP damage there. Steelback, first set of traps. Didn't do much because he goes long range and Memento finds him.
Does indeed. Precision Protocol into the face of Joko. That's going to force a very early flash. We also saw Steelback getting bullied out of lane by Hikyu, and now there's a potential dive going top.
And this is why we talk so much about the Galio when it was left open, because it allows you to push and roam, just like we saw at Worlds, just like we saw in 2017, or last year, which fun enough was Worlds as well. But anyway, I just added those two. I separated them now, added them back together. 2017 Galio. Trevor, take over. Okay,
let's look at Noskeren, because you haven't messed that one up yet. Noskeren on Braum, it is his most played champion, it is his most successful champion.
Yes.
He's got a phenomenal KDA, I told you, 0-433, and look at that kill participation. Mwah! It is beautiful.
And they let him take this Braum. Now, He gets double TP in the bot lane. They're right back to push. One guy messed up and TP to the turret instead of to the minions. Does not give you reduced cooldown. That was removed
Listen,
in 2017.
HQ has not teleported as an AD carry for years.
That's true.
This is a mechanic that these players need to learn. You know, it doesn't just come that simply, Deficio.
Ask me about Galio in 2017.
Okay, Galio in 2017, also in Worlds.
Also in Worlds.
What did you think of him?
Well, as I tried to say before, great pushing and roaming. Good to play around a winning top lane or winning bot lane. Roccat, they got both. Winning top, winning bot. Blank. You can go anywhere on the map and you should succeed.
Well, you said winning top. Let's actually put it to numbers. 20 CS advantage for Prophet on Jace. 20 CS advantage for Hiku on Caitlyn, and it's equating to a 600 gold lead before first place.
And going bot lane, because there's a stopwatch on the Jinx, makes it a little bit harder to tower diver. Top lane, there is no stopwatch on the Gnar. You can set up ganks from Memento, dives from in. Oh, Ruin!
This could be problematic. Memento's still got flash available.
the
Yeah, but the
Galio.
Galio ultimate. Not going to be enough just yet. Prophet decides to re-engage. Betsy's joined the fight, but the Cataclysm's down. Emperor's Divide buys time, and Giants turn it around despite the early game strength.
And it's Ruin starting the fight here. So much confidence. Going in 1v2, knowing backup is arriving, and he gets Prophet knocked into that wall. Then backup shows up and they get the first kill. That was also the first Galio ult he used. It was nerfed a lot in terms of cooldown. Early game, every single ult needs to work for you if you really want to cleanly snowball the game. And first one is a failure because it's used defensively here. Look at Ruin, man, knows Mega Noise coming, knocks Prophet into the wall. He calls for Blank to show up, but there's nothing they can do because Memento is low. He can't really rejoin the fight. And that's now not only the kill for Giants, but also a big cooldown gone.
Oh man, Roccat, all of that goodwill from that team composition. Now, if there is one minute benefit, it's that Joker was the one that picked up the kills. So, you know, Ruin and Betsy, slightly less gold in those matchups that they're in at the moment.
You're really looking for the positives.
You know what? My glass is always half full, Deficio. And Giants...
Should drink some more.
I will do my best. Giants, theirs is definitely a little more as they get to 10 minutes. And they've got themselves first blood on the board, despite being in CS deficits. All right, game has a very brief pause.
Dramatic pause.
Tension builder. As we can see, it is on the side of Roccat. We'll get that
Blank doesn't understand. His ulti's on cooldown, yet his team doesn't have a kill. Something has gone wrong in this game.
Oh man, it's like the old Shen narrative that we used to have. The first ultimate has to work, has to be for a gank or, you know, a play in a bottom lane, for example.
Because if we look at the late game, for Rocket's side, Jace, Camille, like two squishy champions in late game team fights. Galio, in terms of damage, it does drop. His ratios were nerfed quite a bit after they were crazy right after Worlds when we buffed the Q damage and people would like one-shot with AP Galio. Those ratios, they got smacked right back down into the ground. So Rocket's late game team fight is much, much harder to execute with all these squishy champions and a mid laner that really excels in the early to mid game compared to Jinx and Azir on the other side. It's really only the Thresh I don't like in the late game. For Giants, everything else is great scaling. So Roccat, they are the team we're looking at to make the plays. And they were kind of setting up for a top lane play, but then they backed away. And Ruin suddenly smacks Prophet into the wall and wins that first fight.
Well, very quick update. It is FPS-related issue on Blank's computer, so we are investigating that at the moment. We have a few in the back if we need to swap them out. And the PC is being rebooted, so once we get them back in, we'll take a glimpse at how that performs. And let's go back to that Thresh for a moment, because Targamas on Thresh, we've seen he's already got Boots of Mobility, first item back.
He's never going to leave the lane.
Never going to leave lane, never going to move. But we've seen those defensive Lantern Threshers where he's sitting not necessarily in the team fight, just holding that Lantern out in case the Janitor, a.k.a. Steelback, needs that taxi to safety.
That part makes sense, but Thresh in a lot of team fights, if you don't 100% execute him, he becomes what I like to call a jack of all trades.
Right.
He's not the greatest.
Master of none.
Definitely master of none. He doesn't excel the most at, you know, protecting his backline or engaging fights, and he can be, in that case, difficult. So I like to see him when he's used very proactively in the mid game to create picks. You roam around. The Lantern is amazing as a jungler. If you're face checking something, you can Lantern out. So with the Moby Boots and the TP, those things kind of make sense.
Right.
But he's sitting under his turret because they're picking a really weak 2v2 lane.
Yeah, really difficult situation, and of course Rockat's early advantage. Now, was this a risky invade that ended up getting turned around, or what do you make of it?
I mean, I fully understand the invade because they had Galio ulti ready. The problem is that mid wasn't denied in terms of moving. So Betsy just kind of walked past Blank and said goodbye, and then he walked up to join the fight. And Memento was only level 5 in this case, so I wouldn't call it a completely insanely crazy invade, but because Betsy was allowed to move in early and Memento couldn't take a fight as he took a lot of damage on the way out,
Right.
it ended up backfiring, and good reaction from Giants.
Yes. The man that was on your screen there just on the right-hand side, Joko, the recipient of the kill. He got first blood secured. And of course, that was onto Profit. Just as an update, the PC has reconnected, so there'll be a unpause, check the FPS, make sure it's running, and if everything's running smoothly, we'll continue with the game. But this is where we have to remind everybody that the top of the European table has several teams at 3 wins and 1 loss, and whoever wins this game will temporarily be king of the hill, temporarily be the #1 undisputed team in Europe until other games are played.
Exactly. Yes, because we have Roccat, Giants, Misfits, and Vitality.
Yes.
All 4 teams sitting at 3 and 1. The next game after this one is match of the week. Vitality against Schalke. So, Vitality, of course, want to try and even out the score after we see who grabs first place between Giants and Roccat. And so far in the game, it's a good start from Giants' side with the comp that wants to scale. They got that first blood. We're waiting to see if we can get back into the game or if I have to go on stage once again and deal with that PC.
The question is, how much will these CS deficits impact the game, right? Like, as we quickly jump back in, approaching 10 minutes, Roccat plus 20 in the top lane, plus 20 in the AD carry.
Trevor, but look, Galio ulti
Hero's
is ready.
entrance.
He's moving, they're going bot lane, they can kill the Thresh in just a matter of seconds.
Oh,
he was stepped on the trap.
on the trap.
You made it too easy.
Where's the Hextech ultimatum?
Let's
Memento
go.
is stood right on top of a ward. Giants knew the gank was coming, and it is thwarted. Also, Blank was cut off. Joko and Betsy moved towards the river. Blank could not run down further.
Great thing for Blank that he has an ulti he can use that makes him fly down into the river, and he can't get into or stop then on the way down. But because Giants stepped away from the turret, Roccat didn't get the tower dive they were looking for, and that means this turret is still very healthy in the bot lane. The Jinx is just farming right now, Trevor, and the Galio ulti is still ready but not used.
Oh man, the tension is building. Even gold game after 10 minutes, and despite Targamas actually stepping on that Yordle snap trap, it didn't cost him his life. It could have, but let's see whether or not Profit's life is at risk. Teleports available for Norskeren and EQ. Ruin and Joko jump inside the pit of the Cataclysm. Ruin's going to kill Profit. Norskeren joins the fight, so does Blank. Now Blank's going to run for his life. The shield of Duran comes down. Taunts up to reduces the damage, but not enough. Now that's a run away from Joko. Everybody else joins the fight. Betsy comes in with the Emperor's Divide. That's another for Giants. 2 of them. The teleports have been used to throw themselves at Giants. Finally, Roccat get one of the board. It's in Memento, but it's at the cost of his life, and Targamas secures the 4th for Giants.
And it's Giants once again with their proactive play. It's Joko once again, the man who's there to take the fight. 2-0-2 on this job, and bot lane Steelback gets a ton of free damage with this Jinx here on the turret. So much attack speed already by ranking up that Q in the early game, and 4 1-in kills for Giants. They have the scaling. The Jinx is not getting shut down. 3 assists for their Azir. It's a great start. Let's see the play again here. So Joko goes for the kill. There's a TP coming instantly from Norskeren and Blank. So Blank's not using his ulti right now. He's not moving up to try and get in range. The ulti, he just channels instantly with TP. Means he joined too late. Duration or the channel time takes too long, and Targamas just kind of matched it and said, you know what? We're going to be 5 people or 4 people now. That's enough to win the fight. Steelback even wants to be part of it. He shot a rocket somewhere. I think it hit Hikyu in the butt.
Well, at the end of it, Giants come away in a better position. Multiple teleports used. By the way, 4 members of the Roccat squad have teleports. 3 of them are on cooldown. And Roccat, despite being 3 kills behind Deficio, It is still only equating to 800 gold. But surely these kills for Giants is
Oh, it's fantastic.
gonna set them up well going to the mid game.
And even better, during the fight, then Blank tried to use his ulti to save his teammates. So once again, it's on cooldown, and it didn't give anything over to Roccat. This Galio pick so far has backfired pretty hard for this team because Giants have found two great teamfights in the early game to punish Roccat.
And Naruto said it in the pre-game interview how he feels the team is just on top of the meta, and 8.2 hasn't changed a huge amount. They've locked in the Jinx Thresh. It was different, but it's working for now.
And this was just a small little clip of Giants in the EU mic check that you guys can, of course, check out on the LoL Esports YouTube and website and all that kind of stuff. Remember, it's the EU mic check. I noticed how calm they were in the communication. In the middle of a team fight, no one's screaming anything. They're just very quietly being like, oh, don't stay for the trap. That's not smart. He didn't know it was there. But they're like very easily being like, quick, go for this target. 2 seconds later, no one's talking. They go like, okay, now this target. And I was like, that's clean, man. And every member seemed to be on the same page. And we're seeing them once again all react instantly.
Joko's in trouble though, because look at the Roccat response. 4 members looking to surround him. Goes golden with the hourglass. A heroic entrance. Lantern needs to be clicked. Hasn't been clicked yet. Finally, Joko gets out. The box is put down to buy some time. Gets a Cataclysm out. Will not be enough to save more than his life for now. Summon a heal for Targamas. Flash forward from HQ. The Flay will not delay the death, and Roccat find 2.
Okay. Once every game, Joko will have a random invade behind the enemy lines when his team can't help him, and he dies. It happened right now, just when I got to talk about how they're all on the same page. They died.
And does this mean Town First Blood as well? Yes, there's not enough damage anywhere else.
Joko!
Oh,
that was so unnecessary.
All right, where does it put us in the state of the game with Roccat unlocking the top tower and getting 2 kills now for HQ?
That gave such a big advantage for a team that was down 4-1 in kills, had not been able to use the 2 first Galio ultis to get anything. This one was successful for Blank's side. Ton of damage in the mid lane. Bot lane tower is still alive. Roccat almost gained 2,000 to 3,000 gold off of one random invade from Joko.
Oh man, monumental turnaround. It's 1,000 gold advantage.
What is he trying to do? Let's look at the minimap. His mid laner is not even in the mid lane yet.
Oh, showed in front of the zombie ward.
But still, making this play here is so risky for him. Wait for your mid laner to be back on the map and push out his lane so you can actually move with him. You're against a Galio. Yes, a Galio who's not been able to use both ultis properly, but still, you're against a Galio who can just join from the mid lane. He got punished so hard for a play, but there really wasn't any reward for him to get. I call that a 1% your favor, 99% the enemy favor play. Don't take those plays in solo queue. They're not very smart.
And even less so on the LCS stage, because just after 16 minutes, as I've already mentioned, Roccat now maintain the lead. Look, plus 23 CS in the bottom lane, still around 15 in the top lane. But Betsy, because he's had a little bit more alone time in that lane, is out farming Blank.
Which is very true, and an important part for him, but Blank got rank 2 ulti now. HQ at the moment, getting close to that Infinity Edge, and we're still fairly early in the game. 2 kills and a lot of farm on Caitlyn. And Memento's Trinity Force is coming along nicely, and that's what we talk about, how this Camille, if she falls really far behind, completely useless. Just goes in and dies, barely does any damage. But if she gets Trinity Force, and most likely Sterix later in the game, her damage is against squishy targets in the backline, and the fact she can keep them in place with the ulti makes her a very strong backline diver.
Well, Memento needs to find those fights, right? He needs to find those opportunities.
Yeah, that's true. But he will know that when he finds it, Blank flies in on top of him as well, and you have great setup.
Assuming Blank has not used his ultimate defensively, like he has almost every time.
Very true. And then we have to see if Targamas' positioning with that lantern you wanted to talk about
is good enough.
One thing that is great about Thresh in a stopwatch meta and in a meta with Caitlyn traps is if someone uses stopwatch, he can then try to lantern them after. Let's see what happens here.
Whoa, there's the flash engage with the baby cage, and there's the ultimate, but Blank will not find Memento. Now all of a sudden it's up to Norskera into body block with that shield. Ruin gets taken down. Roccat were able to 5v1 him. Now Giants run away from that mid-outer turret, and that was it ended up being good engage despite what looked like a good defense.
Yeah, Betsy did manage to knock Memento out of his own ulti so that Betsy could walk away from the fight initially, but then Ruin joined, and then he ended up going down because this Roccat lineup, They bring a lot of damage here in the early game. So many damage deals on their side. It wasn't Abyssal Mask from Blank. It was instead Rod of Ages in this game for just additional AP early on. Let's see the setup once again. So onto Betsy. Betsy knocks Memento away from his own ulti, so Betsy can actually get out. But then Ruin is here, and sadly for him, Jinx is not here yet. They can't really take the fight. Steelback wasn't close enough, and Roccat gets another kill.
And No Scared interrupted a lot with that Glacial Fissure. And despite Steelback firing the Super Mega Death Rocket from behind, did not find a target. Roccat come out in the lead once more. Memento one step closer to that Trinity Force.
And this Rod of Ages, of course, makes a lot of sense as well for Blank because there is not enough magic damage on Giant's side to warrant the Abyssal Mask, as talked about earlier here. But yeah, Trinity Force almost there. Sheen is the most important for Camille because the first Q she uses procs the Sheen. Then she has to wait 1.5 seconds, which is the cooldown on Sheen, for her second Q to deal the bonus damage, the true damage. So she gets Sheen procs on both of them, which is a ton of damage if you can actually stick to a target.
Oh, especially when that Trinity Force gets completed.
Yeah, even better, man.
Fisher, we're approaching 20 minutes, and over the last 2 weeks, Giants and Rockat's play style has really spiked from the 25 minutes onwards. We've got some numbers to back that up. The post-25-minute gold spike. Talk to me a little bit about why, and I know we've said the late game comps being one part of it.
I mean, a lot of the late game comps need 2.5 items before they really want to start team fighting, and typically around the 25-minute mark, you have at least guaranteed 2 items, and you are on your way to the third one if you haven't already completed it, if you are farming very well. So when you start hitting this 25-minute moment, you can start grouping as 5. You can start playing around mid lane, and then you start playing around Baron. And that's a good way to get team fights, which is what these comps want to do. And these teams have found the team fights. They've won the team fights, and then taken the Baron right after and used that to get a much bigger goal lead. So they've always waited. Roccat in this game, though, because of their draft, wanted to be more proactive early. Now ended up working out, but they get punished earlier in the game. So we've had more action than we normally see from these two teams before 25 minutes. But it's been actually a very entertaining game because there have been so many fights.
And interestingly, despite the extra action, they're still even at 20 minutes. You know, yes, it is a 2,000 gold lead for Roccat. Don't want to discount that at all. However, the scaling advantage on the Giants side means Roccat needs that lead, right? They need to keep some form of advantage, especially over these next 10 minutes, if they want to set themselves up well in the mid to late game.
Oh, Roccat will have to show us some amazing late game team fight with this backline dive of Camille and Galio, but it's going to be hard for them against Betsy's Azir. And if Steelback is left untouched, as we keep talking about, and he gets excited, no attack speed cap, crazy amount of attack speed scaling on this Jinx, and then she just takes off completely. When she sits with attack speed boots and double Zeal item, and she gets excited, she already gets to the point where she's basically capped in attack speed, and then she really starts benefiting from going above it with, of course, that being removed, the attack speed cap.
Oh yes, get excited in those team fights. Means I get to yell a little bit more and watch the janitor clean up, watch Steelback tear through the team fights.
You know the hardest thing about playing Jinx in late game fights?
Tell me.
People think it's, you know, the range in minigun can be a little bit difficult to use, but it's actually controlling your own excitement when you get excited. Because you start standing up when you're playing, you start screaming because you're just running the enemy down and shooting everything right in front of you, and you often end up in the front line.
I don't know how your desk is at home, Deficio, but I cannot stand up and play League of Legends at my desk. However, I understand the point you're making. We'll see whether or not Steelback jumps for joy.
How can you not stand up in front of your desk and play League of Legends?
Because I'm sitting in a chair.
Yes, but then you can move the chair back and stand up. Or do you have a chair? Do you have a table all around you? Are you just like sitting in the middle of a table?
That's it. That's
how
how it works.
Hole there,
it's like a donut. It's a donut desk. That would be some interesting fan art.
That would actually. I like it. I like it. Blank, he wants more damage. That's Leandris right now on this Galio.
Well, not really surprised. You did say he was going to build AP.
I thought it was going to be Morello coming in, but Leandris for him.
And I get some more poke from those Winds of War. We caught a glimpse of Heraldina being summoned in the top lane.
I would have preferred the Leandris. Sorry, I mean the Morello.
The Morello option.
I do like the CDR as well.
Is there a reason other than the CDR that you like it?
I mean, 100 AP, always great for you. CDR mainly is the one I'm looking at because it's 80 right now on Leandris, so the difference there is not that huge, but he's not even against that many tanks that he wants to burn down.
Deficia, you said around 25 minutes. Both of these teams have liked to group as 5. It's 22 minutes, and Roccat were just doing that in the mid lane.
Yeah, we get to that 2.5 item moment in the game. It's what Giants have been waiting for all game long.
1.5 for Prophet. He's gone for the split push build that we saw previously as well, the Blade of the Rune King, working his way towards Black Cleaver as well. Trinity Force was completed for Memento.
Oh yeah, the power spike.
And a little early on that Winds of War, but it'll still count, as Roccat will look to secure their first dragon of the game, which is an Infernal, unless Giants can interrupt. Noscaron.
Oh, we get a fight here.
He's going to try to body block.
So on the Infernal Drake for now, Trevor. Here's Joko.
Smite fight is won by Memento.
Taking
And
his
look
ulti,
at
he
the
can't get out.
baby cage. You cannot escape that. Now Giants, they've bitten off more than they can chew. Betsy's running for his life. Roccat get a kill, and they are donated the dragon.
Yeah, Joko right there. Thought he could try and get the steal and lantern out, but you cannot get out if Memento is right next to you with that ulti from the Camille. Luckily for Giants, though, Ruin is sitting top lane, cancel that TP, and we'll just get the turret for his team. But they lost Infernal Drake, and in a game that's looking to go late game, that can be important for Roccat.
Oh, very, very exciting as we continue to scale up, get those items, and this dragon, first Infernal of the split for Roccat.
Let's see once again here. It's already being started down beneath the screen at the moment, and they're kind of not committing for a fight on the side of Giants, just thinking, try and steal and then lantern out, but that's not
I mean, is that just forgetting about Hextech Ultimatum, or?
No, I think the timing was just slightly off. I think
Got
if
it.
it just jumped in, instant smite and then out,
Yeah.
it can work.
Okay.
But the dragon wasn't low enough for Joko to do that. So timing just slightly off from Giants right there. And ended up costing them a kill, and they still lost the Drake. Hikyu just completed his rapid fire cannon, so he's now able to use both of those seal items together. The Caitlyn is past the weak mid game. She's looking good right now. No sorcery on his side.
And Roccat need that. Roccat absolutely need that, because this gold lead does not mean a lot as we get into the 30 minutes, the 35 minutes of this
a tiny
game.
one.
Is really not significant enough, especially with the squishiness of those targets. So let's see how Roccat play this one, because Baron is going to be an option that they need to look at, and of course itemization. Finally 2 items there for Prophet. He's got that Black Cleaver.
Yeah, he's been shut down in this game.
Yep.
Died both times in the early game when Giants look for a fight. Around mid lane, Joko will force Memento out. But it's second time today we get Jace versus Gnar here in Europe. We get the Blade of the Rune King Black Cleaver build once again. Very focused on landing as many auto attacks as possible when you sit in that side lane. But Gnar just pushes and leaves. And Jace doesn't really get enough autos off to really utilize the Blade of the Rune King from what we have seen so far. The Gnar is able to get Randuin's and then walk away and be more impactful in team fights.
Okay, I've not really been looking at the vision a huge amount for the last sort of 5 or 10 minutes. It feels like fairly defensive wards from Giants, as it's mostly in the river towards Baron, and now Roccat trying to push that deeper. Is this when Roccat need to start thinking about Baron, unlocking that Baron to help out the split push power of their team composition?
At least think about baiting a fight around it, because their comp is really good at turning. When they're sitting at Baron here, you have Memento who can hook onto a wall and then fly out and reach the back line. Blank can follow with his ult or flash over a wall near the Baron pit with the taunt from Galio. So their comp is really good at doing that, and Prophet can win side lane like this to get a bit more pressure on the map.
All right, good damage shutdown. Prophet's going to continue chasing.
Memento's coming.
Memento's looking for the chase. That's flash for flash, and Memento flies forever. Ruin's not going to be able to escape this one. He's shut down by Memento. And while that chase was going on, saw the stats dropping down on your screen. Giants and Roccat on the second and third best teams at controlling Baron, securing more of them and conceding fewer. And we'll see who's going to get the early advantage now. Roccat, 6 kills to 4, 2,000 gold up. And they're taking control ever so slightly of this game.
Need a lot more control wards, though, if they want to control this river here, because Giants are not only sitting with their current wards, there's some zombie wards in there.
Freddy would be disappointed.
Freddy's backstage right now, probably destroying his notebook, because it clearly, the only thing in it at the moment is control wards, and the team's not listening. Look, his mid lane has a Doran's ring. What is this? He's going back now. He can sell it.
Okay, we'll see. We'll keep an eye.
Come
Blank,
on, sell
Blank,
it.
he cancelled the recall, so Blank hasn't gone back just yet.
Okay, but when he goes back,
yes,
we need to see if he sells the Doran's ring, buys a control ward. If that happens, then Freddy is coach of the split.
Okay.
A mid laner selling an item to buy a control ward.
Okay, well, control ward just picked up by Prophet. Memento, Noscaron have theirs as well. I think Hikyu, I'll let you keep that stopwatch, because you need to stay alive in these team fights.
So remember again, Rocket's ability to turn in this little area near the Baron with AoE taunt from a Galio, with traps from a Caitlyn. Noscaren's ulti is amazing in these small little areas as well when you're walking to stop them. So I really like how Roccat are now doing this. Started and get ready to turn for fight.
Okay, Memento's does not have flash available. He used it to kill Ruin a little bit earlier. Ruin also is Mega Gnar, so if he starts to teleport, it's going to be running out of time.
The traps!
He's going to get tired. The traps are so important! Memento is down! That's the teamfight Giants wanted. Noscaren goes golden with a stopwatch, and Roccat are running for their lives. Noscaren's down. It's a double kill for Betsy, and Steelback is excited. He's got no more targets to hit.
The
Giants, they've got themselves a gift-wrapped Baron. Roccat need to pull something magical if they want to steal this.
Blank is around here with Prophet, but they're backing away. The traps from Steelback stop Memento from getting close enough to hold on to him and get a Galio ulti right after. The Jinx traps. Not here for damage, here for utility at the moment.
Man, those Flame Chompers, game-changing. Giants set it up and they take the Baron at the end.
So it's good that Giants are coming from this side here with Joko here on the left side, so there's a little bit more of an opening to move into. Then notice here, Memento wants to jump out, hit onto Steelback, and then get Galio ulti, but the traps stop him. And Steelback didn't even get touched in the early game, early start of the fight. That was so huge for Giants.
The interrupt on the hook shot.
And they win the fight here. Good trap placement and another fight.
There it is indeed. Noscaren's on the front line. Look at the Emperor's Divide. Unfortunately, doesn't really find a target. Noscaren has been shut down. It's Target Master gets the kill credit. The dunk comes down to Prophet's head. He's going to try hop out. He'll be the second of the fight. Now Roccat are being pulled apart. Blank's going to try to charge up that taunt. Will at least find a connection onto Joko before Justice punching to safety. And Giants, with Baron-empowered minions, they're on the middle turrets.
It's all going wrong now, Trevor. They lost the Baron. They're losing a mid-turret. Jinx is fed at the moment. 300 CS on this carry here for Steelback. And of course, next to him is Betsy. I guess I should highlight his 304 is here.
Yeah, pretty good 7 out of 8 kill participation right now. Right, 20-second death timer for Prophet. It's a 5v4 at best. How greedy are Giants? Not at all. They'll be happy to take the middle inhibitor and back away.
Yeah, smart. Smart in the late game setups here. Oh, oh. Baited me as well.
Yep.
Correct route towards the Baron. The traps. Man, the traps.
Unreal, isn't it? One little ability changes the tide of the fight. And this was, of course, the start of that mid-engage that we didn't quite catch.
All right, Memento just flashed in right there, but they ended up getting ulti on Joko. Really not the target he wants. Giants, after once again keeping the backline safe, because the combo of Camille Galio doesn't reach it, means that now Betsy and Steelback can kill whoever's in front of them.
And you know what? Despite the mistake from Joko earlier in the game, you know, invading where he got killed and punished, he's got 100% kill participation, and as the rest of the game has played out, feels like he's at the right place at the right time, and he's doing what the Giant squad needs.
Yeah, he had a tough situation in the early game, but actually now he's on a trap.
Let's find out.
That doesn't work.
Do you know why? Why immediately as I say it? Immediately as I start praising Joko, he walks into the jungle and basically suicides. Is that my fault?
There was a trap.
Okay.
So, kind of your fault
Right.
for cursing him.
Sorry, Giants fans. I'll take that one. My bad. My bad.
Good trap placement from Hikyu on the other side, and yeah, early game from Joko, like, pretty tough spot to be in. Like, your top lane is losing, your bot lane is losing, there's a Galio mid lane. Like, really not where you want to be a jungler, because it feels like wherever you're gonna go, you should get counter-ganked and you might die. But it was instead Giants who found the ganks and the openings to get ahead. They then fell behind after quite a mistake and found the way back at the Baron, and now they can take this Cloud Drake despite having lost the jungler. Doesn't matter at this point. We're going into the full late game territory very soon.
And Giants are going to be pretty happy with that.
They are.
For the most part.
Trevor, you wanted some Ninja Tabbies? You only got 2 on the side of Giants.
Can we accept that? I think I don't mind Moby Boots on Thresh. I don't think it was as useful in terms of the early game. However,
it makes sense
Yep.
on him, and I do like, of course, the other choices from Bitsy. And still back here, and right now, if you're Roccat, the combo you were looking for has not been working. You haven't even gotten to the backline yet.
listen, we've also made a mistake. We started talking about Freddy as a coach and whether he'd be proud of Blank for selling the Dawn's Ring and picking up the control ward. I didn't quite see the timing of it, but there's a control ward in that inventory.
Yes.
So Freddy has instilled the importance of vision for the Roccat squad, and they're going to need some magnificent defensive vision if they want to somehow turn this around, but the odds are stacked against them.
They got a team for like madmen in this game here with the Jace and the Camille. It's so difficult with this draft late. We kept talking about how it was Roccat who had to force early mid game, and it was Giants who had the better late game. And now we're at the point where Giants are not only, in the late game, they're also ahead in the late game. 3k gold. They got the first Baron of the game. They've only lost the Infernal Drake. Great spot to be in. Another good performance from Betsy when it comes to team fighting as well here with the Azir. And we're just kind of waiting for next big team fight to see if Steelback and Betsy stays untouched in the backline. Then they win for sure.
Deficio, talk to me about Betsy. What do you think of Betsy in 2018? Is this a return to glory? Is this him stepping up better than past performances? What do you think?
I think it looks a lot more consistent than what we saw last split. Because we always had some good Betsy performances.
Yep.
We were like, wow, he's Vladimir, spot on, or that's Swain, sexy, Now with Betsy, I feel like it's been almost every game where he's had very solid late games. It's really favoring him with the Azir, and there we go.
That's the correct graphic.
It is Schalke Vitality.
Match of the week will be Schalke versus Vitality. It is the battle of the AD carries, many Trupacks upset, and of course the mid laner, Italian Stallion, or the king of mid lane, Nukeduck, at least according to many pros.
I thought you were going to go with Year of Nukeduck. I'm trying to brand it.
Oh yeah, but then how do we, the Italian Stallion versus the Year of Nukeduck?
Or the Norwegian Duck.
There we go.
Not as powerful as the Italian Stallion.
Either way, to get back to the sexy Swain of 2017 Betsy, just consistency is what you're liking this year.
Yeah, a lot more consistency, not making any mistakes in the early laning phase. On the scaling champions, his Veigar was good. His Azir has been very good so far when he's played it. And when you're on a late game meta and he doesn't get shut down early, Betsy gets to shine.
Yeah.
And that's what we're seeing now on the side of Giants. And the same thing for Steelback.
Definitely working out for Betsy. He was roughly 100 CS over Blank. So just a moment ago, you talked about Steelback, 367 to 388. He's got that fourth item completed, Steelback, that is. High Edge, Bloodthirster, Rapid Fire Cannon, Static Shiv.
He's ready to clean.
Now, interestingly, it's still very even in the gold. It's 1,000. But the composition, the way they synergize.
Yeah, it's in Giants' favor.
It adds value that is not apparent just by the numbers on your screen.
So we're looking at Memento and see if he can do anything. But this is again the problem with jungle Camille, is now that everything kind of slowed down for him, he's still trying to get to the Sterix.
Yeah.
So he wants Warrior 24 Sterix, but that's fairly expensive for a jungler with 35 minutes in. And he's not there yet, so he's extremely squishy in the fight. Let's see what happens here. Ruin and Prophet.
All right, Ruin's about to Mega Gnar out, but will he survive long enough? Yes, is the answer. Hate asking those obvious questions, and EQ and Prophet will be able to pick up a defensive kill. 7 on the board for them. Baron is live, and Giants have peeled backwards. I'm looking at the vision on the minimap. It's not the greatest, but at least gives some sort of early indication as Giants are setting up.
They can kill it so fast with minigun as well from the Jinx. That's where she gets extra attack speed for
what happens. Yeah, the Hextech ultimatum, flash away from Joker, or just the dash instead. It was the flag and drag. Noskaran takes him down. This could be good for Roccat, but they're running low on HP. Prophet's forced to run from Ruin. Ruin's going to be able to gnaw out. The Unbreakable breaks as Noskaran is taken down. Steelback gets excited but can't find another target, and it's a 2-for-1 in favor of Giants.
Yeah, and while Roccat, they get that kill onto Joker, he's not the man you want to kill. You need to get onto the carries, otherwise they will just take you down. Another fight in favor for Roccat here. For Giants, I mean, Rocket's base, on the other hand, is taking quite a beating.
Oh man, Giants on the verge of sitting alone in first place. 4 wins and 1 loss at the beginning of the spring split. They're going to set their sights on the Nexus turret. EQ takes a shot to the face. Steelback will get body blocked by Targamoth to survive a few seconds longer, but that AP Galio Blank takes him down. Betsy shuts down Memento in reply. So far it's a 1 for 2. The Nexus turret stays standing, and Roccat hold on to their base.
Oh, Blank is TPing in behind them right now. Let's see if we can do anything. Home guards and everything.
Okay, what can he do? He needs a Justice Punch to the face. He's hovering across
alone
the
right
floor.
now.
He's no
alone.
support. Got himself that AP build and a little bit of resistances in the Gargoyle Stone Plate.
You had to force that AP build in there.
Enough, I know. I was just thinking about ways he could find a kill. Not going to matter. And let's replay the entire engage.
Once again, the Lantern won't get you out, won't keep you alive, but they're buying a lot of time right now where it's just Joker going down, because Ruin is taking the 1v1 against the Jace. Not at this point with the armor, he doesn't care. Beats Prophet. Steelback gets another kill on the Scarab. That's going to be Baron for the team, and Disappointing if you are Giants. Actually went straight for inhib instead. Baron is still alive. I tried to bait the viewers right there.
Oh, man, but it's Roccat in the pit. Are they starting this? Are they trying?
Oh, it's actually Roccat doing
Man,
Baron.
this is going to be the
Joko's around.
slowest Baron ever.
He sees them.
Come on, Justice Punch and Dash. Wow,
Oh.
really? Using the ultimate to get out instead of the E? Guess it must have been on cooldown. I thought there was further, so that's actually a really big cooldown to use for Blank. The hero's entrance becomes a defeater's retreat. So Roccat are now continuing to defend their base. Super minions in the middle lane.
And now Giants could go for Baron if they want to. They look for the fight instead.
Well, shows you how much I know about Galio. E will not go over terrain. That's why I needed to use the ultimate. Justice Punch to the face of Joko, and Prophet's coming in from the side, getting excited.
He's excited!
Where is Steelback? He wants to clean. That's a rocket to the face. PQ's going to get tagged down, and Steelback continues to chase out. One more shot. Not going to be the triple kill. Instead, the Hextech ultimatum comes down. Betsy and Ruben, they close out the team fight. Naruto is ecstatic with his boys. And
where's half the
Giants
team?
are in the base.
They needed to push a few minions first before they can get to these Nexus turrets. They have Steelback right here. He can kill them in just a few seconds. Giants with another great late game, and it all started at that Baron fight.
Now, Defisher, you talked about the team comp, you talked about the value that it would bring, and Giants just demonstrated it. One last kill onto Prophet after the GA gets popped will round out Giants' siege. They take down the Nexus turrets, and Giants take first place with 4 wins and 1 loss.
What a great start for Giants, and once again, they draft a very strong team fight comp. They get to the late game, and then they punish mistakes. And they win the late game fights, and they suddenly get themselves in an advantage where it's almost impossible to lose with the draft they have. That Baron fight was so important in this game. Should be rewatched for sure to see what could Memento have done different. Was there a way for him to reach Steelback right there? The traps came down in the middle of the river. It wasn't even like a little area where you couldn't avoid them. It was in the middle of the river.
Memento was also seconds away from having his flash cooldown available. How different could it have been if he was able to flash then hook shot, for an example?
Because we got to see multiple times when they jumped onto Joko. What happened when Camille ulted, the Galio ult came in, Joko couldn't get out. That would be a kill. Even easier against the Jinx. But that doesn't matter because the winners, they get to write history.
Exactly. And what I like, Roccat tried the composition. Unfortunately, in the mid-game, it faltered. And all credit to Giants. Their response, even with a few mistakes by Joko here and there.
Oh, that one behind enemy lines. Unnecessary.
Their team fights were fantastic. Steelback, the janitor, is back. Betsy scaling into the late game, and Giants 4 wins, 1 loss, currently hold first place. One other team has the potential of joining them today, whether that's going to be Vitality or Misfits. Both of them could, in fact. But we need to see who will continue this win streak.
And once again, we get a Giants team where the coordination is on point when it comes to winning these fights. Early game, looking for the kills. Again, it was just a Joko mistake that set them so far behind. Completely unnecessary. Everything was actually going just fine before it. So overall, good performance from Giants. So fun to see a team that no one expected anything from sitting at #1.
Surely, people will start taking Gnar away from Ruin.
It would be a pretty good idea
now,
to do that.
It's not only the champion. Ruin as a player has been showing up. This is another game. We didn't speak a huge amount about him this game. I know I did last week. But he was there at the right time. His Mega Nars were always on the right target. And despite having a counter matchup, he came away well in the mid-game.
Yeah, I mean, again, they won some of the early fights around topside. The Galio mid, which is a super strong pick at the moment, didn't mean anything for Rocket's early snowball.
Yeah.
It wasn't until they caught Joko they got an advantage. So Roccat actually had a fine setup.
Yes.
But the
it
traps,
comes down to execution, those little mistakes. Listen, those traps is what allowed Giants to win. You guys at home, let us know who you think your player of the game was. Our analysts have nominated the following 3 players: Joko, Betsy, Targamas. Head over to Twitter, look at /LOL esports, and then vote on the poll. You actually have to go vote on that poll. We will announce the winner after the ad break. If you were to vote, and do not take his opinion as what you have to vote. If you were voting, who would it be?
Betsy.
Betsy? That simple?
Betsy. I would say Joko. I think he had a great game.
You just can't forgive the behind enemy
He
lines?
had the big mistakes. I'm going Betsy.
Okay, that's it. Can't forgive behind enemy lines. Don't trust him. Vote for Betsy. Coming up next, we look at towards our match of the week as Schalke take on Vitality. Will it be Year of Nukedak? Find out after the break.